Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'll be discussing why this Nintendo Switch is my favorite console. So I've been playing games for years, and honestly, I love playing games. I've usually played on my computer, and I've played World of Warcraft and like very heavy games on my PC that a console just couldn't really play. But when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, I think that it has some unique features that you don't get anywhere else. So first, the most obvious thing we have to talk about is the portability. And honestly, I think the portability plays a huge aspect in my life. I don't really have time to play a lot of games right now, and definitely don't have time to commit to big titles like World of Warcraft. But there's so many games on Nintendo Switch that is perfect for pretty much any lifestyle. What I usually do is I can lay in my bed and I can play whatever game I want. I recently bought Diablo 2 Resurrected because it's a nostalgic game for me. And honestly, it's so good on Nintendo Switch. I've been actually kind of addicted to it, which is not that good. So the main thing for me is that you can play anywhere. I can bring it on a train, I can play on just in general public transport, I can play on my bed, I can play on my couch, I can play at my dinner table, I can play anywhere I want with this console. You can also have fun with friends, even without internet. You can play offline mode Stardew Valley. If you have a girlfriend, if you have friends, you can just play split screen, like good old days, and just have fun. So the Switch has become one of my favorite consoles because you can just pick it up and play. And if you don't want to play in handheld mode, you can also play on the TV in a docked mode where it just ports it up on the big screen and you can play it as it was a PlayStation or an Xbox. The Nintendo Switch game library is very unique compared to other libraries. You have access to a lot of games that you just don't have access to anywhere else. So if you played Pokemon back in the days, the Nintendo Switch will be great for you. I've picked up Pokemon Sword, and honestly, Pokemon Sword is so good. I want to pick up some of the more recent Pokemon games as well, but I didn't have the time to actually play them, so I'm gonna wait a bit. But my point is with the games is that there's games for anyone. If you're into Mario, you can play Mario on the console easily, you can play Pokemon, you can even play titles like Skyrim, Diablo 3 is also on the console. There's so many games on the console and they're so unique. So one of the main reasons that the Nintendo Switch is my favorite console is that it's so mindful to me. I'm lying on the bed, I'm lying on the couch, and I'm just zoning out and just completely focusing on the game while relaxing. I didn't get that when I played computer because I was sitting in the chair with a headset on, and usually I would try hard a lot in the big titles. And honestly, the Nintendo Switch, I can just escape more with the games on Nintendo Switch. So then you might think, well, there's a Steam Deck as well. Yeah, I know there's a Steam Deck, and honestly, these two consoles are completely different from each other. On one hand, you have the Nintendo Switch, which has a very unique game library, and you also have the Steam Deck, which also has a very unique game library, where you have access to all the Steam games, but what you don't have access to is all the titles like Mario, Pokemon, and all the good games, in my opinion. And believe it or not, actually, a lot of games that you can play on Nintendo Switch, you can also play on the Steam Deck via emulators. But the Steam Deck is just so much more expensive compared to the Nintendo Switch. And since I'm not that invested in gaming as I was in my early days, I think that a cheaper option like the Nintendo Switch is great. And that's why I think that the Nintendo Switch is not better than the Steam Deck, but it's a better option for me, that is. And one thing, it's also cheaper than the Steam Deck. So one of the downsides for me with the Nintendo Switch has been that the games are very expensive. Because if you were to get the newest Pokemon game, you'd have to pay maybe in Denmark at least, I don't know, $70, $60, $80 in that range. And that is to me just very, very expensive. For me, that's fine because I can go out and then I know if I invest in a game, I'm gonna play that a while and then it's gonna be worth the money. One thing there is as well is that there are some limited game options. You can't play all the games in the Steam library, but you have to stick to what Nintendo has in their library. And one other downside as well is that the games usually get ported later to the Nintendo Switch compared to the computer, for example. So an example of this would be that a game would come out in February and then on the Switch it would maybe be released 5 months later. So there's a gap there and it just gets released later on a Nintendo Switch. But then again, then you have games like Pokemon that's not gonna get released on any other console than the Nintendo Switch. You shouldn't underrate the Nintendo Switch compared to the Steam Deck because the Nintendo Switch is still a very, very unique console and it's just a very great console as well. By the way, one suggestion for game, try out Stardew Valley. To be honest, that is so nice to play on a Nintendo Switch. You can just zone out completely in your bed. It's perfect, trust me. I think this console is perfect for anyone, and it is definitely my favorite console ever. For now at least. But if you're not that much into console gaming, you should definitely check out this video where I talk about one of the best mechanical keyboards and one of the cheapest mechanical keyboards on the market that is really high quality. You should check it out in this video up here. Thank you so much for watching.